Alright, so on the bench today we have an Epiphone Les Paul in black, gold hardware, really nice looking guitar. I'll put the strap on there, I'll have to take that off. Let's have a look, it's a little dirty. So Epiphone Les Paul Custom Pro. Very nice. Nice binding. We'll have to see how this guitar plays. So it's in for a setup, string change, put on some lighter gauge strings. Yeah, really nice. Alright, what does that say? Oh, we'll get it out of the light. Epiphone 2014. Yeah, looks like it was built in 2013. There we go. Alright, well, let's see what we can do with this guitar. Alright, so first thing I want to do is get these strap locks off. So I don't think I've ever seen these before. There's a little push tab here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Not bad. So you push that in and you can rotate around a little wheel in there and lock it. We'll get the other one off. Alright, well, let's see where this guitar sits. So the clients dropped it off to have the strings changed and the setup done. It was bought in 2014, hasn't been used much, but now his daughter wants to play, so we're going to set it up for her to use. So let's try the neck relief, see where we are. Capo first fret. I'm going to start with 12 thousandths. So hold down the E string, somewhere where the neck meets the body. So 17th, 19th fret, and then we're going to check under the 7th fret. Well, as you can see, there is no neck relief. Just for fun, let's try 10 thousandths. No, so there's no neck relief at all, so we're going to have to check that the truss rod is working before we do anything else. So I highly doubt that anything's ever been done on this guitar, so I'm not expecting the truss rod to be mangled or anything. The screws look pristine. Always use wood if you can, instead of metal, to push things around. Pretty much not going to scratch that way. Alright, let's have a peek. Well, it looks pretty clean. I don't think anyone's ever touched it. It's buried quite deep in there. I'm a little concerned about that. Looks like a 4, maybe a 5 mil. Let's check. Alright, well, this one's fighting me a bit here. So, to loosen these strings off, I've tried a few different wrenches. Seems like 4 mil works. There we go. Well, it's turning nicely. Okay, well, that seems to be working. Let's check the neck straightness. So right now, with a little bit of the string tension off, and of course we're using a 24 3/4 inch scale, right? Gibson scale. There's definitely a back bow, so the guitar goes like this, right? Let's see if we can loosen that up a little bit. Get this to straighten up. Okay, now we're just loose here. Maybe it's a two-way. Ah, there we go. It started to catch again. Okay, so that should be helping. Yeah, that's better. Probably another little turn, straighten it out. There we go. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Well, because of the extreme back bow, we can't really measure the string height and stuff or the nut action, so let's just check the electronics like I like to do. Make sure all that's working. Probably a little scratchy, we'll see. Alright, so turn that up. So tap test, right? Something metallic. This should just be the bridge. Touch the pole pieces. These should be both. And don't just touch the cover, touch the pole piece. See the difference, right? And then this should just be the neck. Yeah. Okay, well, all that seems to be working. Actually, surprisingly not scratchy. Good. So just to look at the pots and the switches here on this guitar. So what's different about a Les Paul Custom Pro is that we have split coils, so for the neck and the bridge. And then we also have a phase control here too, so that's really the difference with the switching other than just the volume and tone controls. Alright, well, let's get the strings off. So we'll just use the power driver quicker. Well, sometimes I take this off, sometimes I leave it there. If you take a little piece of eraser, generally you just shove it under there. There we go. Things aren't going to move. I'll probably cut these ends off. It's really, they're just harder to pull through. I'll just cut them. That way it's easier to pull through, and you'd end up not scratching the body. Good. Okay, there seems to be some intonation there, so that's a good sign. We'll leave that eraser underneath. Just going to do a quick check of the frets to see if there's any high frets anywhere. I'd hate to get to stringing it all up and then being frustrated by some weird buzz somewhere. A little bit here, eh? So the 3rd and the 5th fret, that'll probably, there's very little fret wear, so that'll probably just come out in the fret polishing and with the fret erasers. Yeah, that'll be fine, I think. Getting down to the short ones here. Okay, so the 3rd and the 5th fret, like I said, probably once we clean them up a bit, they'll be fine. So let me give the pickups a little rub with a microfiber cloth. Yeah, that's pretty good. Shining it up a bit. I like a little bit of corrosion, a little wear. It looks good. Looks like it's been played or used. New guitar should only be new the first day you buy it. After that, it should look like it's been played. Alright. Just get under here before the strings go on. It's a little harder to get at, some of these areas. Alright. Alright, well, let's give the fretboard a little cleaning. Just use whatever mild detergent you want to use. Don't let it soak there, right? But just spritz it on. I like to use a paper towel, rub it in a bit, see what comes off. Yeah, pretty clean. That's not bad. So this guitar was kept in its case mainly, so that's why it's not very dirty and not played much. Alright, so use the fret erasers here. Clean up and polish the frets a bit. So we're going to go from coarse. So I think that's 180, 150, 180, 400, and 1000. So I usually just lay them out there so I remember. You don't have to push hard or anything like that. It's just I like to do about 10 or 12 times. Just in your head, right? Count it out. So remember, the 3rd and the 5th fret seem to be maybe a little problematic, so I'll give those just a little extra pass. Alright, continue. So it's a good idea once you've done a pass with the fret erasers with one of the grits, take a brush and just brush away any bit of the debris, either the eraser debris or a little bit of fret filings. You don't want to be just filing those back in, right? So yeah, just clean it up a bit and start with your next grit. So I'm just going to use a fret crowning file, lightly go over the 3rd fret here. Just take off a little bit. And do the same thing on the 5th fret. Just do a little bit at a time. Let me see here. So there we go. So the rock is gone now from there. Just a little bit here on the bass side. Again, if you count how many strokes, then you get an idea of how much you're taking off, or how much. There we go. Oh, yep, that's good. So that fixed up that area. So I'll continue on with the fret erasers. Alright, so we've gone over them with the fret eraser, so now we'll use a little fretboard conditioner. So a little dab will do ya. So I thought about putting 9s on here, but the client has 10s here that they had with the guitar, and I think what we'll do is we'll play these. Since we've never set this guitar up before, we'll put it up with 10s and see how it reacts, and then if we want to change to 9s later on, we can do that. So these are Gibson bright wires, 10 to 46. While we've got the strings off, I'm just going to tighten up tuners here just a little bit. You don't go crazy, just snug. They're not really loose. Both sides. It does help with tuning stability, but also prevents any sort of rattling noises, you know? Take the wrenches, let's see, 10 mil, right? So we'll just give those a little snug. Oh yeah, look at that, that's a little loose. That one. Yeah, again, you don't want to really tighten these down. There's no torque setting or anything for these. If I flip it over, just that little screw at the bottom of each tuning machine. Just check those to make sure they're snug. So far so good. Oh, that one's a little stripped. Oh, it's not moving. Yeah, all these are good. Alright, well, we can say we checked that, right? Right, so this is where it's handy having a little piece of eraser under here. This bridge doesn't have any locking mechanism, set screws, so it'll just flop out. So we'll put the strings in. I like to put them all in. And then we'll attach them up at the headstock. Alright, so I did the 6th string already. So for the 5th string, so I like to line up the hole in the tuning post sort of in line with the string in the nut slot, right? So look at it. It's lining up, pointing at it. that's pretty good. And so if you go, I don't know, 1.5 tuners by, bring it back. So I'm going to bring it back. I like to just kink it up a little bit. And then just start turning. You can stand up that string if you can. And don't press the string down onto the headstock either, right? You might scratch it up. So you just have to make sure your windings are going underneath each other. And of course it's trapping the string through the tuning post hole. There we go. So you should get 2 or 3 windings. At least 2. 3 is good. There we go. So I don't tighten it up right to pitch yet. Then we're just going to clip off, give about 1 inch. So if we do need to take the string out and do something to it, we're good. Okay, so let's do the rest. Okay, so we have them all strung up now. Like I said, I left about 1 inch or so of string in case we need to manipulate it at all, pull it through tighter. So when you first do this, you obviously, it's going to take a while for the strings to stretch, so that's what we're going to do next. Alright, so just give the strings a little stretch here before I tune them up. Yeah, grab them somewhere around the 12th fret, give them a pull. Once we tune it up, we'll be a little more precise. So let's tune this up. Okay, so you go through it once, not bad. So now we're going to stretch again. So I like to grab on the 12th fret, give them a good pull, especially the wound strings, not so much the 1st and 2nd. And if you hold down the 12th and then pull down around the end of the fretboard or over the pickup, and do the same thing the other way. I don't know if that does anything good or not, but it seems to work. Again, pull again from the middle. You know, you're not trying to break the string, but you know, you don't have to be crazy gentle. Alright, we'll tune it up again, and then I'm going to let it sit overnight, and we'll check it again tomorrow. Alright, so here we are on the next day. I have stretched the strings and I've tuned it up. Let it sit overnight. Sounds good, just strumming. Let's check the neck relief. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty low. So again, let's try with 12 thousandths. We're going to fret here around the 19th fret. I can barely get the 12 under there. Let's try a 10. Yeah, it's starting to get under there. So I'm going to say this is probably around 8 or 9 thousandths. So here's an 8. Let's see what happens here. There's a little burr on that. So we're around 8 thousandths, which is very low. But if there's no string buzz when you play, especially with open string strumming, in the playing position as well, probably a good sign that it's enough. And to be honest, I've cranked this truss rod as far as I really want to go with it, so I'm going to continue with the setup and then see where we end up. Okay, let's check the string height. So Gibson specs, usually at the 12th fret you're measuring. They like to see 4 64ths on the bass side, 3 64ths on the treble side, which I find always pretty low. So that's pretty good on the bass side. I'm scraping there, so this is a 4 64ths feeler gauge, right? So I'm going to leave that there. Let me try the 17th. I usually prefer the 17th, but again, for Gibson, at the 12th fret. So 4 64ths on the bass, 3 64ths. Now that's a little low for a lot of people, but again, if you don't have any buzzing, fret noise, go with it. So far this guitar is setting up really low. Okay, now I'm going to check the action at the nut, and there I'm going to guess that this is going to be less than 18 thousandths. Yeah, it's just scraping it. Let's try here. So let's see, got some more feeler gauges here. Let's try 16. Yeah, that's just sliding under there. Might even be less than that. Here's 15. So far this guitar is really set up for low and fast action. No buzzing. Oh yeah, that's super low. So when you press down on the 3rd fret and then use your finger and touch the 1st fret, there's no bounce really. But again, no buzz. So far so good. So we'll check the intonation, and we do that by hitting the open note, fretted note. Of course, if I played on the right fret, that would be good, right? So there's the open note. So we tune that up. It's a little flat, just to sharpen it up a touch. There we go, yeah, somewhere around there. Then we play the octave at the 12th fret. Move that a bit. There we go. A little sharp. We're tuned sharp, right? Let's try the harmonic. That's pretty stable. Seems a little sharp maybe, eh? Okay, so with a Gibson Les Paul, the tune-o-matic, we're going to go here. So on the tune-o-matic bridge, to set the intonation, we need to move the saddles back and forth, right? So we were a little sharp on the E string, so we want to lengthen the string to flatten it out. So we're going to move this saddle back that way. So because we're going to put some tension on the string, I'm just going to loosen it a little bit. And it's not the easiest to get in there sometimes, but Get a nice small flathead. Just get in there. And we're going to move it back. Not a lot, just a hair. There we go. Tune that back up. Alright, so let's check here. So that's in tune. Pretty good. Yeah, so there we go. So now we're intonated. So I'll just do that for the other 5 strings. Alright, let's check the pickup height. So, using my gauge here, so on the bass side, that's 1/8. So press down on the last fret and run the gauge across the top of the pull piece and under the string. So here I can't really get it under there. And we'll do the, yeah, so the bridge is the same. So on the treble side, just 3/32 or 6/64, we'll do the same thing. Well, that's good on that side. This one could come down a little bit. Alright, so let's do that. So we're going to lower down a little bit, do a few turns. That's better. Maybe bring that up a little bit. There we go. Oh, that one could go down. So you do that, you know, back and forth till you get it right. Well, we're pretty much done with the setup. So now I'll just clip these strings off. Poke yourself, which I've done many times. And I think oh no, we'll put the truss rod cover on. Les Paul Custom Pro. So this thing this guitar really sets up for fast, low action. So I wonder if I imagine that's the difference between a Les Paul Custom and a Les Paul Custom Pro. Not just like the finish or the binding, etc. It's actually the setup. So, like I said, this guitar has never been touched. So it came like this from the factory originally and hasn't really been played a hell of a lot. So, nice to see. An Epiphone. And it's heavy. This guitar is, you know, I'm sure under all that black paint it's solid mahogany. Neck and body. There we go. Hey, thanks for watching the video. So this guitar really set up nicely. I'm no guitar player, so